Do you want to drive bold results in volatile times? If so, great, keep watching, because today I'm summarizing this book here, Change: How Organizations Achieve Hard to Imagine Results in Uncertain and Volatile Times, by John P. Kotter, Vanessa Akhtar and Gaurav Gupta. Now, in a world that's changing faster than ever, where disruption is the norm, not the exception, business simply can't rely on small tweaks anymore. Businesses need bold, agile, system-wide transformations. And the truth is, incremental improvements simply are just not enough. We're in a time where external change is constant and chaotic. And if internal change doesn't keep up, what happens? Well, simply you fall behind fast. So there's this gap between the external chaos and the internal response in an organization. And that's where companies often will struggle. So what's the secret? Well, that's to minimize the gap, responding to changes in a faster way, a smarter way, and with real energy. And to deliver meaningful change, you often think, well, you need more analysis, more reports, but you'll get those anyway in leadership, in business. What you really need to do is act and instill a sense of urgency. And if you can reach both the head and the heart of your colleagues, that's the way to inspire the urgency. So here's a great formula for you. Have to plus want to, that's what equals change. Logic alone just won't cut it. People need to believe that change is emotion. They need to emotionally believe in that change, not just to understand it intellectually. And that's where key leadership comes in. Because as a leader, you don't want to just explain this change is happening to your company. You want to inspire the change. If you can capture the minds and the emotions, then once you get buy-in, that's when the energy will spread like a contagion through the organization, allowing momentum to grow and the company to succeed. So, how would we start? Well, just remember, you don't need to change everyone or everything at once. Ideally, you can have a diverse few, small groups, often your top players, because you then think they'll succeed, but they need to be passionate. Let them act, empower them, let them act, and let them win. And then you'll see other people in the organization look at them and think, how did they do that? I want to be involved in that change. Others will follow. And eventually, your entire organization then will start to move. And that's when you can combine both vision and action into a form of acceleration. And that movement, that acceleration is really what's going to drive change, not a further email or a memo sent round. So, one of my favorite points in this book is that strategy isn't separate from change. Strategy is change. If your strategy doesn't drive transformation, then it's just a bit of paper or a Word document that nobody's going to read. Great leaders empower people across the organization to actually shape the strategy themselves. And it's not just a top-down thing, but it's a collaborative, evolving process. And that's what we would call leadership in action, not just managing numbers, but empowering ideas and empowering people to build a great future. I want to make something clear. Leadership and management are not the same. We need both, but we need them both for different purposes. Management is about structure, process, policies, the execution side of a business. In essence, It's essential for keeping the business machine running. Leadership, on the other hand, is about direction, alignment, and inspiration. It's about how we as a team will overcome obstacles and how we can paint a vision, an attractive vision of where we're going. And without proper leadership, change simply won't occur and it won't stick. There's too many companies where there's leadership at the top, but it doesn't ripple through to the middle of the organization. And this is sadly a missed opportunity, because really everybody in an organization needs to be a change leader. So this book mentions the idea of a dual operating system. One side of your system is in essence the traditional hierarchy, the management. It's going along with the projects and it's built for efficiency, scale and consistency. Whereas on the other side, there's small, flexible teams that are experimenting, moving fast and adapting. And the key thing is that these two teams run side by side. The hierarchy side keeps the business moving, whereas the network side is looking at what could be there in the future and trying out different things. Not all of those will work, but the things that do can propel your business to the next level. And if you want to know more about this dual operating system, please check out this video that I've done before, summarizing one of John Kotter's books, where he goes into that in much more detail, and so do I. Change needs to be agile. It's a word that many people throw about. We need to be agile here. But even late in a process, you need to be potentially open to new requirements. You test, you iterate, and you respond quickly. You don't need a perfect product. You need the minimum viable product or the minimal viable change to test it to see, does it work? Do we want to keep going with that? And if not, what are we going to do? And this allows you to learn from something and build on it quickly. So when early wins happen, you may say, great, what do you do? Well, bang, you celebrate. You capitalize on them. This momentum is gold. And if you want to give me a little win to celebrate, smash a like down there or a comment, and feel free to subscribe, because I summarize lots of books and try and distill helpful knowledge to help you get the best of your life. So let me tell you about culture. Here's the truth. Culture doesn't change simply because a leader says that it should. Culture changes when people have experience, and if they experience success through new behaviors, that's when culture evolves. And that's what we want to do, have a culture, a positive one, evolving rather than trying to enforce a culture. Because when good behavior spreads, it gets adopted, and then the culture will continue to evolve. And that's when you see real change. And it's when you know the change has been successful, when it's then baked into how people think, act, and lead. Another powerful insight is that during major disruptions such as mergers or acquisitions, people often just fall into survival mode. This is when you think, oh, I need to think about keeping my job. And that's when innovation can flatline and fear can take over. So what's the solution? Well, it's activating pride. You need to inspire people to believe that they can do more than just simply survive. They can excel. So if you can tap into their sense of meaning, and that'll give them purpose and provide them with great opportunity. So when you activate positive emotions in yourself or others, that's how you get creativity, energy, and real ownership of a good vision for the future. So in summary, what I would say is urgency needs both hearts and minds. Strategy is change. Empower people at all levels. Build a dual system for both stability and speed. Lead with a vision, but support with structure, and always celebrate early wins. Organizations that thrive don't manage change. These organizations lead change. So take another step and subscribe. I'll see you next time.